And we are live. Hello. Merry Christmas, since it's a season and not a day. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. It's what we call in Canada Boxing Day, the solemnity of the martyrdom of St. Stephen, who had large rocks thrown at his head until he died. You can read about that in the Acts of the Apostles. It's the first martyr, Deacon Stephen. Pray for us. Quite a guy. Prayed for the people who were throwing sharp, large rocks at his head to kill him in imitation of Christ our Savior. So it's a great feast day, and it's a great season in a continued way to talk about movies, what are called holiday movies, what we might want to call Christmas movies. Christmas movies. So Christmas movies. I got a bunch that I want to recommend, and a couple that I don't want to recommend. My good friend Tim Gordon was meant to join us today, but he is very, very under the weather. He plays hard. Tim is not a call-in sick kind of a guy, so I want to solicit your prayers and your charity that Tim bounce back. So there's lots to talk about in this live stream. Normally it's an Ask Away format for members of Coffin Nation. If you want to check out coffinnation.com, you might want to sign up. Maybe it is for you. There are two papal encyclicals written on movies. One is 1936 by Pius XI. It's called Vigilante Curae. And the other was 1957. It's one of the last encyclicals of Venerable Pius XII. It's called Miranda Prorsus. And both of these popes, in the middle of the what's called the golden age of cinema, were solicitous for Catholics to get involved in Hollywood, seeing in Hollywood a kind of mission territory, and also seeing in films a magnificent power, to use Pope Pius XII's phrase, magnificent power of movies for storytelling. If you think about it, movies are the ultimate art form. They include, in themselves, all the other art forms: dance, painting, photography, singing, drawing, theater, the kind of performance. I can hear all that. Okay. So movies are important indicators and causes of cultural revolution, and they both cause and reflect the status of a culture, its kind of moral equilibrium, its default setting. So we don't need to get into which causes which, because it's a difficult thing to parse out. But as far as the perception of Christmas goes, we can talk about films that have shaped a generation, and I'd love to hear from you. What kind of Christmas movies do you like? Do you have a family tradition that you guys imbibe in? Is this on? No comments yet. Yeah. Yeah? Okay. So, Gerard O'Connor, happy Christmas to you, Gerald. Maybe you can share with us your country or your city, if you're comfortable.
Carlos Carlos there.
I only see one.
Maybe that's him?
Yeah, it's Gerard O'Connor, not Carl Strelitz. Oh, weird. Yeah, no, it's not showing up here. Just
Okay.
FYI.
All right. They're not commenting, that's all. They're looking.
I would say, let me start out of the gate with one of my favorite childhood. Tony Russi considers space exploration to be the highest form of art in the 20th century. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to comment on things that have nothing to do with Christmas movies, so you can comment away. Let's see here. Oh, Gerald in Ireland. Yeah. Okay.
The people who don't.
Yes, 1965. This is something that goes back to my youth in Nova Scotia, and that is the Bill Melendez, Charles Schultz produced Charlie Brown's Christmas. Not the second one. I don't think the second one is as good, but the original has that beautiful Vince Guaraldi trio, jazz, piano music, and it's just the sweetest thing on earth. And it leads up to the famous reading of Luke's infancy narrative by Linus, and I just love it. It just puts me right in the mood. And remember, unless you're kind of a stickler as I am for certain movies like It's a Wonderful Life, which we'll get to, and Meet John Doe, which we'll get to, I think those should really be seen at or before Christmas. Love to hear what you think about Disney's A Christmas Carol. I know I loved the Disney's A Christmas Carol, directed by Robert Zemeckis from 2009. Can you believe that's been 10 years since that thing opened? Wow. featuring the title music by Andrea Bocelli. Yeah, but this isn't Ascaway. This is So I Can. So
You don't have to.
well, no, of course, but I actually want to.
Sure.
Yeah. Yes, Bob Zemeckis, who gave us the franchise known as Back to the Future, also Polar Express. He shot Disney's A Christmas Carol, that kind of pixelated technology, featuring the living cartoon known as Jim Carrey, who plays at least 3 roles that I am aware: the ghost of Christmas Past, Present, and Future, Ebenezer Scrooge, and the young Scrooge. I love it. So there it is. Yeah, we're keeping the focus tonight on Christmas movies. So with that, I did not like the Act 2 crazy, what are they trying to do besides ruin the movie, scene where Jim Carrey goes into miniature as Scrooge and he's chased by the black horses. I thought the special effects were poor. And the whole thing is not in Dickens' original A Christmas Carol in Prose, which is a magnificent work of art. If you've never read A Christmas Carol in Prose, I highly recommend that you do. I've been rereading this every Advent for years, and it is just a marvelous ride. But some people are really hard on Disney's A Christmas Carol. I think it's a pretty well-rounded rendition of Dickens's. That's a word? Dickens's? Yes, it is, because I just used it. Version. So with the caveat that the miniaturized Scrooge is a total flight of fancy that has no part in it, in my very humble and probably correct opinion. Another movie from the 80s that I know everybody's goes gaga about is A Christmas Story. Now, I do understand the nostalgia. I understand the cold weather thing and the grumpy dad and the weird, I don't know, woman's leg lamp shade. And he says "God damn" at one point. He's angry at the furnace, so I didn't appreciate that. And it just has never landed on me with the Peter Worthington. What's his name? Peter Worthington? The actor? Peter Billingsley, that's right. The tongue stuck on the cold bar. Yeah, it's cute. I don't know why. Some people, they just live for it. And I don't know why it's never really landed on me. I'm just going to go to, I'm going to kind of go back and forth here. Bells of St. Mary is one of the few movies by Bing Crosby I've not seen. I saw Going My Way. I've never seen Bells of St. Mary with the great Ingrid Bergman. I have never seen Scrooged as well with Bill Murray. Hello to Anthony Saltino, March of the Wooden Soldiers, 1935. Sounds good. Haven't seen it as well. Hello, Donnie Newman. Mark Wirtz in Las Cruces, Mexico. Hello, Maria in Los Angeles. Yeah, I love it. Patrick Benally. Yeah, that's a great conversation with Donna Reed's daughter, Mary. Yep. Yeah, Donna Reed is from Denison, Iowa. I've only seen parts of the first Home Alone. I know I'm a bad person. I should probably just watch the thing, the Macaulay Culkin Home Alone with the inimitable Joe Pesci. Yes. Rankin Bass TV shows. Was that the production company, Michael Glowatsky? Let me know. Yeah, Disney. Speaking of Disney for a moment, I did not care at all for Frozen 2. It's another feminist propaganda piece featuring every trope of a weak male you can imagine, from the milquetoast beta boyfriend to the even the black general, who is kind of a useful idiot because he's deceived. Yeah, too bright. He's deceived by the real bad guy, which is the male ancestor. Elsa and her sister's grandfather is the guy who sort of created the original sin of this whole story. And you've got the sissy snowman and, the sister power saviors that make everything right. I don't think it's good for girls to be shaped by that kind of premise. Just me. Now, is it Adela Menzel, the singer who sings Into the Unknown? It's a pretty powerful song. So I'll credit that, but social justice stuff. It's helped ruin the Star Wars franchise, I should say. Okay. Yeah, you guys are all off topic. I'm not talking about anything other than Christmas movies. So,
Carl said I didn't like Scrooge with Bill Murray.
didn't see Scrooged. I like Bill Murray. Carl says he didn't like it. Yeah, Bill Murray, he's a lapsed Catholic. You know, Bill Murray has said positive things about the Latin Mass. So maybe Mr. Murray's trying to come back to the church. Scrooged looked kind of, right, it's a play on words, right? Scrooged. So, iffy.
Do you see Carl's Brothers?
No, 0.
Says he will never watch one.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, hello to John Henry. Hello, Brianna Smith from North Carolina. Brennan Bergeron. Hola. Yeah, Colin McMenamin. I was raised with the Alistair Sim 1954 version, and I think the next runner-up would probably be the George C. Scott A Christmas Carol. I understand that Patrick Stewart has one as well. I just never got into it. I would be interested to know why you'll never watch Home Alone, Carl. Just curious. Mr. Magoo is great. Jack Cassidy, Roddy McDowell, and of course the one and only Jim Backus, who played Thurston Howell III on the Gilligan's Island program, is the voice for Mr. Magoo, the charmingly half-blind old guy. Very sweet. Yeah, Lethal Weapon, Eutychus, is Eutychus. It's set on the background of Christmas, for sure. Another movie like that would be L.A. Confidential, the 1997 film noir homage starring Guy Pearce and the character's Bud White, played by Russell Crowe, Kevin Spacey of evil memory, and Kim Basinger, who won the Oscar for her portrayal. I like the movie. It's a very, very well crafted. It's got 3 protagonists, and it's set in the days leading up to Christmas in Los Angeles in the 1940s. Another movie with Christmas as a backdrop is The Apartment, the Billy Wilder film written by I.A.W. Diamond and starring Jack Lemmon and Fred MacMurray as a bad guy, kind of a sleazeball guy who's cheating on his wife, and the wonderful Shirley MacLaine. If you haven't seen Billy Wilder's The Apartment, I recommend it. It's one of the last of the great black and white movies. It won Best Picture in 1960, and it's just a terrific line. The last line of the movie is, he says, "Miss Kubelik, I absolutely adore you." And she looks at him and says, "Shut up and deal." Sweet movie. Another one that I'll mention, although, again, technically not a Christmas movie, but is set in the backdrop of the Christmas season, is the 2008 Japanese film that won the Oscar for Best Foreign Film, and that is Departures. I have preached the gospel of the glory of Departures for a number of years. I'm sure people are really sick of hearing it, but it's just a classic, insta-classic, small masterpiece, and it's set against Christmas. So if you're interested in a movie about the brevity and the fragility and the beauty of life, check out Departures. Not The Departed, not the Scorsese film starring DiCaprio and Mark Wahlberg, but Departures, Japanese movie. An American Christmas Carol with Henry Winkler. No, I never saw it, Carl. Haven't seen it. Yeah, I'm going to get into It's a Wonderful Life soon because it needs to be paired with the previous film that Frank Capra directed, but also set against the backdrop of Christmas, and that is Meet John Doe from 1942. Is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory even a Christmas movie? I'm not sure. Wasn't aware of Jimmy Stewart's son. I remember the Star Wars holiday special when I was a kid, and I didn't like it at all. I thought it was corny. See, Bob Iger and the Disney machine totally took over when Lucas decided to sell off the franchise. They shook it like JoJo the Idiot Monkey Boy, and they made it SJW, and they feministize it. Feministize? Whatever the adjective is. And so it does not match the childlike imagination mode of George Lucas, for sure. So I didn't think much of it. The Snowman is a pretty sweet movie with, if memory serves. Oh no, I'm thinking Jack Frost. That's with Michael Keaton. Sweet Christmas film. Have not seen Come to the Stable. Mark Dipshinsky, please let me know who stars in it. When was it in? Changing the Guard episode of Twilight Zone. I vaguely remember that. Now, Rod Serling is an interesting guy. The creator and host and I guess main writer of Twilight Zone really did one kind of show. And all the Twilight Zone episodes are basically Why Does Man Suffer? It's all about the struggle, often kind of, what's the word? Surreal, of the struggle to understand why good people suffer, why bad things happen to good people. So I enjoy them. I remember being terrified of Night Gallery when I was a kid. Oy, oy, oy. Night Gallery. Whew. Scary. Yes. Okay, so Rankin Bass Productions. Yeah, Frosty the Snowman, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Little Drummer Boy movies. Terrific. Hello, Tom Scott, 89. Good to see you. I'll have to check The Snowman as the animated classic, people are saying. Must watch, 1982. Fine. I don't... Now, Ethna Murphy says The Grinch. Now, I love the 1960... Is it 1960? I don't have my laptop here. Yeah, that's the one with Boris Karloff doing the voiceover. That is the classic one. Yeah, let me see if I can find out what it's... The Grinch. Not the Abomination. The Ron Howard Abomination starring Jim Carrey. Terrible! What were they thinking? My goodness. Terrible. I'm going to find this, and there's nothing you can do about it. The Grinch. Boris. Yes, so The Grinch was voiced by Boris Karloff, co-produced by Chuck Jones, who gave us the Looney Tunes Bugs Bunny genre. Yeah, it originally aired on CBS in December of 1966. Perennial Hollywood favorite. Another thing people often get wrong is the voice, the singing voice is a guy called Thurl Ravenscroft. It wasn't Boris Karloff singing the part, but I love it. I love it. Cat in the Hat Productions, MGM Animation Visual. That thing had a $315,000 budget. It was very expensive to do, apparently, probably because Boris Karloff was a legendary actor. He's just a guy who's played all the great scary characters. Son of Frankenstein. He played in Hopetep, in The Mummy. He's got 2 stars in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. My dad used to love him. Died in 1961 at age of 87. Okay, back to our list here. Yes, Carl liked the George C. Scott A Christmas Carol. Yeah, never saw Jingle All the Way. Yeah, maybe feminized is the word, Michael. I was trying to get at feminism instead of femininity. Yeah, I didn't see the Dudley Moore either, Carl. Yeah, I think that's a good observation, John Henry. Night Gallery didn't really have the Twilight Zone morals. Yeah, it was just like just scared the crap out of people. One of the episodes of Night Gallery, the one starring Joan Crawford as a blind woman, was directed by a 22-year-old young man by the name of Steven Spielberg. That's how he cut his teeth, doing a Night Gallery episode. Pretty young to be starting, 22. Yes, CP Grove, Trouble with Angels. Wow. Yeah. The Trouble with Angels was directed by a former A-list actress, kind of a famous actress who's not well known now. Her name is Ida Lupino. And it stars Rosalind Russell and Haley Mills, and it's set in a girls' Catholic school. And it's a pair of girls, and they kind of smoke, and they're a little bit naughty. They break the rules, and especially Haley Mills' character, she's kind of snarky and rolling her eyes at all of it. Has a really unexpected ending, and I found it to be very emotional. I love the scene when the girls go to an old age home full of retired sisters. Remember that scene? It's very kind of nostalgic. I love that movie, The Trouble with Angels. I want to say it's 1968. Recommend that. Again, I think that's right. The Christmas scene, not technically a Christmas movie. Come to the stable, Loretta Young. Oh, yes, my goodness, Loretta Young. Our chaplain, when I worked at Catholic Answers, Father Vincent Serpa knew Loretta Young. She was a Catholic revert. And, of course, she plays the wife of David Niven in The Bishop's Wife. So let me go on a little bit of a tear about The Bishop's Wife. The Bishop's Wife starred Cary Grant. I'm going to itch here. Cary Grant plays an angel. And Frank Capra originally had Cary Grant in mind to play George Bailey. But when the RKO decision makers got the script in front of Cary Grant, he decided not to because he was already interested in this other angel Christmas story called The Bishop's Wife. Now, The Bishop's Wife also stars, I won't call her a friend, I'll call her an acquaintance, former treasured guest of mine, Caroline Grimes. Caroline Grimes played Zuzu, one of Jimmy Stewart and Donna Reed's daughters in It's a Wonderful Life. She also plays Debbie, the daughter of David Niven and Loretta Young, the bishop and his wife of the eponymous title. And this movie, it's very sweet. It's a kind of a Cupid, angelic figure played by Cary Grant. But it lifts a lot of themes and scenes and references, allusions, plot lines from It's a Wonderful Life. It's kind of interesting how brazen it was. Yeah, Sean, honestly, who I'm friends with, I could be there all day. So just trying to keep it to Christmas movies. But you've got me interested in Come to the Stable, starring Loretta Young and Celeste Holm. Got it. All right, so noted. Come to the Stable. It's the kind of film that you can't really make today, right? It's too reverent. Michael O, Merry Christmas to you, my friend. What happened on Fifth Avenue? Gail Storm and Victor Moore. Have not seen that as well. Oh, thanks, Michael O. I loved my every year I air the same show. It's kind of perennial. It features Carolyn Grimes, who played Zuzu, and Mary Owens, who's the real life daughter of actress Donna Reed, who plays Mary Hatch. And I learned from Mary Owen that she's not named for Mary Hatch, FYI. Okay, yes, Trouble with Angels, very good movie. A Midnight Clear, yes. That was an interesting Battle of the Bulge movie. Yeah, Midnight Clear, you take us. Good call. Good call, Midnight Clear. I was going to recommend Joyeux Noël, but there's Joyeux Noël is one of those movies where it's based on the true life account of the Christmas Day ceasefire on Christmas 1914 during World War I. And the German side and the Axis powers agreed to a ceasefire, and they played soccer in the field in no man's land, and they exchanged gifts, and they sang Christmas carols in German. A lot of the soldiers were both Catholics on the German and the American, British, Canadian side. Actually, no, it wouldn't be American. It would be British, because America did not get into World War I until April of 1917. However, there's this sex scene where the opera singer and her opera singing tenor boyfriend are like having sex in the middle of this Christmas movie. What? Another movie where there's needless nudity is Die Hard, starring Bruce Willis. 1988, directed by John McTiernan. The bad guys storm into the 30th floor, and there in one of the offices, there's this blonde chick who's topless with her clothing hanging off her, and they're on this desk, and one of the Eurotrash terrorists comes in, bank robbers I should say, and she starts screaming, and she is running out topless, and Bruce Willis looks at a naked woman in a Playboy centerfold. There's a couple scenes where he runs his hand along. It's like, what? How'd this get into this Christmas movie? And why is the name of Jesus Christ taken in vain so often in Die Hard? This is one thing I noticed. In fact, Tim Gordon and I were talking about this. Why do they take Christ's name in vain when it's otherwise such a salient and effective, funny, and parts moving movie, namely Die Hard? Does not compute with me. Oh well. Yes, but again, apart from those little unfortunatenesses, Joyeux Noel and Die Hard are both otherwise finely crafted movie. Okay, I want to keep up here. Let's go to... All right. By the way, Colin Ray has a song called If It Could Happen Then, It Could Happen Again. If It Could Happen Then, It Could Happen Again by Colin Ray, my buddy Bubba Colin Ray. Wonderful show. Yes, okay, let's talk about Love Actually since Carl Strelo mentioned it. Great to see you from Adelaide, Australia, by the way, Carl. So glad that you're a member of Coffin Nation. Love Actually is a Richard Walter? There's a company called Working Title Pictures, and they make movies like Four Weddings and the Funeral, About a Boy, Notting Hill. I'm going to get this. Richard Curtis. Yes, Richard Curtis. So Love Actually is several storylines all kind of wrapping together. It stars Liam Neeson and the terrific Emma Thompson. The scene where Emma Thompson realizes that her husband, played by the late, great Alan Rickman, has bought jewelry for his lover and not her. She's listening to the CD he lamely buys her, a collection of Joni Mitchell songs. And she puts the song, she excuses herself from the Christmas tree room and goes to their bedroom and puts on the song, Both Sides Now. And she begins to cry. It's the most moving, searing little bit of acting by Emma Thompson. It's just magnificent. So these stories wrap all together, kind of labyrinthine style. You learn as you go who's related to who and who's connected to whom and how. But it's porny. It's a lot of sexual innuendo. There's a lot of swearing in it, and I don't recommend it. It's one of those examples of a film that's got charm and it's got kind of a emotion-based soundtrack. I love the music, kind of gets you going. It's from 2003. And it's kind of like, it's the anti-It's a Wonderful Life. It shows a very shallow version of love, and didn't feel it. So, yes, Charlie Brown Special was brought up. The first one, not the 1965 one, not the sequel. The sequel was not great, I didn't think. Didn't see The Nun Story. Yes, Miracle of 34th Street with Natalie Wood and Edmund Gwynn. Wonderful movie. That's a great Christmas movie, Miracle on 34th Street. Hola from San Diego, George Chavez, good to see you. Hey, Stephen Cross from Calgary. Love to get back to Calgary, Stephen. Drop me a line about doing a parish mission there. I know the Archbishop of Edmonton, not too far from Calgary, and I spoke last year at the Rock 2.0 youth conference with Lizzie Rizet and Brian Holdsworth. Had a great time. I love Calgary. Did not see Christmas with the Cranks. Did not. If that involves Tim Allen, I can't do it. I'm sorry. It's just a natural allergy. I can't explain it. It's not rational. Yes, The Catholics, based on the Brian Moore novel, I have not seen, and I guess it's about traditionalist Latin Mass only Catholics, kind of apocalyptic end times. I've heard a lot of things about it. Yes, Jenny, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Now, I have a feeling that that's one of those movies where if I watch it today, I'll be appalled at the language. I don't know. Sarah can't watch movies anymore. Sorry, Sarah. Oh, Mikator from Nottingham, England. We're talking about all kinds of movies. We're talking about A Christmas Story. We're talking about A Charlie Brown Christmas. We're talking about Disney's A Christmas Carol. Home Alone. Did we mention Home Alone? That's the one Christmas movie I've not seen. Can we talk about two similar movies? One is Holiday Inn, starring Fred Astaire and Bing Crosby. And it's almost the same story as White Christmas. Another Irving Berlin story. For many, many years, for decades, Irving Berlin's song White Christmas was the #1 top money-making hit of all time. Kind of harmless. I think White Christmas is a much better movie. The characters are likable. You've got the incredible dancing of the super, super thin Vera Allen and Rosemary Clooney. Actually, Rosemary Clooney did the singing for both sisters in that movie. Danny Kaye, who's just fantastic. Danny Kaye and Donald O'Connor and Gene Kelly. That's a generation of triple threats that no one can do that today. Very few. Maybe the one guy I can think of that would approach singing, dancing, and acting ability would be someone like Hugh Jackman. But that generation from the 40s and 50s, you just can't top them. Sorry. White Christmas, a lot of mistaken identity stuff, and it's definitely schmaltzy, and it's like a double dose of whipped cream. I like it. I prefer it to Holiday Inn. And by the way, they use the same set. If the set looks familiar, the semi-outdoor looking set, it was actually indoors. They use the same external backdrops for both those movies, Holiday Inn and White Christmas. Super vibrant colors, huh? That was one of the first Technicolor movies that really make it big. Alan Rule from Calgary. Hello from Columbus, Refining Fire. Groundhog Day is not about Christmas. We're really talking about Christmas movies. Fine movie, though. Faith Love, hello from Colorado. Oh, hello. Say hi to Edmonton, and it's chilly. Also, Mistress Xmas from Edmonton. Love to come back. Hint, hint. Parish mission, no charge to the parish. Hint, hint. Mary Crone McGowan. Hello, Mary from Memphis. Christmas with the Cranks. Yeah, it's Christmas in Connecticut. Haven't seen it. Yeah, I know. Mills, Don Marie. Sorry, don't judge. Have not seen Home Alone. Okay. Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. I saw when it first came out, and it seemed pretty gay to me. There's this homo undertow, and that's all I remember. But I actually, I it's funny, I don't think of it as a Christmas movie at all. There it is. Jingle All the Way. Yeah, I got to see Jingle All the Way as well. I didn't see Gremlins, Carl, but my former guest, Robert, drawing a blank now, Robert Davi, D-A-V-A. I interviewed Robert in a previous show that will go nameless called Catholic Answers Focus. He also plays the sharpshooting FBI guy in the helicopter scenes in Die Hard at the end. And also, he played the opera singing bad guy in Gremlins, Small World. Or was that the Goonies? Someone correct me. Is Robert Davi in the Goonies? This is going to bug me. Robert Davi. Great singer, by the way. Yep, Goonies. I'm wrong. Goonies, not Gremlins. Thank you. Arnold. White Christmas. Super sweet. Yeah, Ordinary People. Is that a Christmas movie, Donna? Donna Marie Mills? I remember it takes place in the fall. Yeah, I guess it's backdrop. Very bittersweet at the end. I was very disappointed that the great Mary Tyler Moore did not win the actress Oscar. She should have. 1980. Directed by Robert Redford. And I think it's written by Horton Foote. Ordinary People. I remember the score of Paco Bell's Canon. It's based on a book by Judith Guest, and the music is Marvin Hamlish. Who wrote the screenplay? Oh, Alvin Sargent. Brilliant. Alvin Sargent is just super fantastic. He died this past May. God rest his soul. An amazing guy. Born Alan Supowitz. He wrote the Spider-Man trilogy, the reboot for The Amazing Spider-Man. And I love it. He wrote Julia and Paper Moon. He wrote The Effect of Gamma Rays on Man in the Moon Marigolds movie in 1972. Oh my gosh, Dominic and Eugene. Anywhere But Here. He was uncredited as an actor in the character's Nair from Here to Eternity. So there it is. God rest his soul. Okay. Yeah, Eutychus. Bing Crosby has that kind of honey dripped on, I don't know, satin wrapped up in pipe smoke. Boom, 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 boom. It was just effortless. Bing Crosby, he could read the white pages or sing White Christmas and you'd know it's him. The Man Who Came to Dinner, did not see that. Yes, Eutychus Goonies, exactly right. Yes, I did not see Nun Story. Is that really a Christmas movie? Well, let me know. Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis, some people you like or you don't like. Tim Allen does it for me. Jim Carrey, with a couple of exceptions. I thought he was very good in Disney's A Christmas Carol and very good in Liar Liar and very good in Simon Birch. That was sort of his first stab at serious roles. I thought he was good in it, but the rest of it's like, De gustibus non disputandum est. In matters of taste, there's no accounting for it. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Yes, Goonies, not Gremlins. Got it. Yeah, I just can't do it. So please talk about your view of how angels are given so much free will in movies. Cary Grant was a handsome angel. I'm not sure what you mean, because angels do have free will. They freely serve God, and they're messengers of his mercy and his plan. So yeah, angels do have free will. Especially, well, when they were created, they had the free will to become evil, to leave their status as God's faithful servants, and they become demons. But that was a free decision that can never be reversed. Christmas in Connecticut. Cary Gress talks about this phenomenon in Anti-Mary Exposed. The movie ends more pro-Mary. Yeah, I've interviewed Cary Gress, by the way. She's great. You can look up my interview with her. Just Google my name and Cary Gress. Woman with a fake life portrayed in a magazine article. Okay, fair enough. Hello, James, 858-4681 from Texas. I'm willing to bet that's your real name. Yeah, I remember the Nun Story being kind of depressing, but I think, I think we're off topic. I agree with Carl. We're a little off topic. Yeah, same with Groundhog Day. No, there's a great example. Anything involving Muppets. No, I'm allergic to Muppets. I have a serious Muppet allergy. I don't know what it is. I can't explain it. Don't judge me. Frank Oz was in a recent movie, and I thought, that guy looks so familiar. It's kind of a... What is it? Was it in... I'm thinking, because he was the puppeteer. Let me find it here. Oh, come. All right, this is bothering me. I have to find this. So Frank Oz he was in the Blues Brothers. He was the puppeteer. He did Fozzie Bear, Miss Piggy, Sam Eagle, Animal, Marvin Suggs. He played the voice of Yoda in The Empire Strikes Back. So this guy's, he's the voice of Bert and the Cookie Monster in the Muppets Take Manhattan. And I just saw him in a movie. Oh, yes, of course. He's in Knives Out. Now, don't be triggered. Someone said they didn't really like Jamie Lee Curtis. But I do recommend Knives Out. This is a movie with two subliminally Catholic leads. One is the newcomer whose name has escaped me. She's the actress who plays the young Latina. And what is her name? Ana de Armas. Wonderful actress. Wow. Ana de Armas. She's from Santa Cruz del Norte in Cuba. She's beautiful and very, very funny in this movie called Knives Out. But Frank Oz is also in that movie. Someone mentioned Frank Oz, and that got me thinking about Muppets, and there you go. Love Wallace and Gromit. All right, so let's see here. Yeah, great dancer. That was not Cary Grant dancing. If you're talking about the ice skating scene, let me just tell you, I can probably, I don't remember who did that. It's another example of how many character actors were used and reused, circling in among directors and stars. The actor who plays the cab driver, Sylvester, is the same actor who plays Mr. Cannell, the editor in Meet John Doe. His name's James Gleason. And Regis Toomey plays what's the movie? In The Bishop's Wife. He plays Reverend Miller. He also plays the soda jerker in Meet John Doe, who says, "You're a wonderful man, Mr. Doe." That's Regis Toomey. Regis Toomey, speaking of that, is also, he had the longest screen kiss ever. It's in a movie called You're in the Army Now. And he kissed an actress who used to be married to Ronald Reagan, Jane Wyman. 1941 movie, You're in the Army Now. That kiss lasted 3 minutes and 5 seconds. That's in the Guinness Book of Records. So there you have it. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, I can't find it. Doesn't really matter. That's definitely not Cary Grant. If you watch carefully, it's a pretty heavily made up dude, and it's not Loretta Young dancing, nor is it James Gleason dancing in the scene where they're skating on what looks like Central Park in New York. Okay. Is Sleepless in Seattle a Christmas movie? There's a backdrop there, I think. Okay, Meet John Doe. Meet John Doe, 1942. It's the movie that marked the end of his writing relationship with Robert Riskin. It's based on previous sources, and it's a terrific film about despair and media manipulation and Saul Alinsky tactics. It stars Walter Brennan and Edward Arnold and Barbara Stanwyck and the great Gary Cooper. And I love this movie so much. Check out Meet John Doe. Yes, if you want to get some more background, I wrote an essay for Catholic World Report called Frank Capra's Forgotten Christmas Classic. Terrific. It's just one of my favorite movies. The speech that Ann Mitchell gives, played by Barbara Stanwyck at the end on the rooftop, is just so gorgeous. It's so explicitly Christian. I love it. All right. Yeah, I remember Little Women. Not enough. Susan Sarandon and Winona Ryder. Not enough to remember. That's it. Oh, Proctor and Spies Like Us. I have a feeling that's a reference you took us to Frank Oz. William Sandelos. Muppets Christmas Carol is surprisingly good. Allergies notwithstanding. Void were prohibited. Okay, yeah, Jenny, thanks. I'm glad you survived my mention there. After Pope Francis, who do we get? Yeah, not going anywhere near there, Chris. Sticking to Christmas movies. I love John Denver. Yeah, John Denver, by the way, has, I think, pound for pound, this is going to surprise you, the greatest version of Oh Holy Night. Do yourself a favor, listen to John Denver's Oh Holy Night. It's simple, pure, clean. I love it. Everything you want in one of my favorite Christmas carols. Yeah, I don't understand, brother George, what you're talking about. Pap, what? Knives Out, great movie. Yes, a very well-crafted murder mystery. Recommend it. Did not see Apparitions. Sawi. Stars Martin Shaw. James Gleason, great character actor. Alicia Gomez, have you seen Meet John Doe? Love to hear if you guys have seen Meet John Doe. I'm continually surprised by how few people have seen it. Yes, Jane Wyman did become a Third Order Dominican. I know that because I interviewed her son, Michael Reagan. I've interviewed a couple times, Ronald Reagan's adopted son, and she was buried in her Dominican habit. So that right there is a true fact. Mr. JTX28, Coffin Rules, thank you, my friend. Thanks, you guys. My Christmas tradition, this is Viva Cristo Rey, is to get a bottle of champagne and watch the television series of Brideshead Revisited. Not really Christmas, Viva. Really. I had to stop watching the Brideshead. I couldn't get through it. I just found it too gay. Now I know there's that sort of sub-theme in the book by Evelyn Waugh, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed the book a lot. Evelyn Waugh is a complete literary genius. But there's just too much kind of gay grab-ass going on. I didn't really care for it, even though I really, really admire the acting job of Jeremy Irons. I think Jeremy Irons is phenomenal. Love to get him on my show, by the way, the Patrick Coffin Show. So if you have any contact with Mr. Irons, tell him I'm interested. I'd love to talk to him because he's come out of the closet as a pro-lifer. He was saying, thank God the Catholic Church stands up for against abortion. At his age, at his point, I don't think he really cares what people say, which is a nice kind of freedom, if you ask me. Yes, You've Got Mail, Shop Around the Corner, a remake. Yeah, very sweethearted movie. Technically not Christmas, but I think it is a winter New York kind of a thing there. Yeah, whatever Bible works for you, DeFelson. The Bible you're going to read is the one you should use. Douay Rheims, Jerusalem Bible, RSV, I don't know. Hype, Holy Faith Media. Elf is very sweet. Elf was produced by Todd Komarnicki, who appears in my show a couple years ago. Todd wrote a movie called Sully and another script on the making of It's a Wonderful Life, which I can't wait to see. But Elf is a very sweethearted Christmas movie. Aethna Murphy, I agree in full. Yeah, William Sandalos, we talked about Miracle on 34th Street earlier. Hello, bear with me. Yes, First Hour of Jesus of Nazareth, I suppose. Certainly his Robert Powell's Jesus was the large shadow of the Christian imagination that shaped at least two generations of people. When you think about Jesus, you think about the Robert Powell performance. A little bit too divine, though, in a way. He was very, I'm the way, the truth, and the life, and I have a British accent. I think he blinks when he's crucified, and he blinks in the smoke during a fire. I think that's the only time when he blinks. Why do you call me good? I have a British accent. Extraordinary. Anyway. Oh, here? Oh, I've been. This just in. Anthony Voltaggio is in the house. Hey, Anthony. Oh, cool. Uncle Bernie. Woo! Mark Malkorath. All my peeps are in the house. So we were talking about Christmas movies, and one movie that's set against Christmas, but technically not a Christmas movie, is L.A. Confidential. I think I mentioned that at the top of the show. It's a very good movie, like The Apartment from 1960, starring Jack Lemmon and the wonderful Shirley MacLaine. Let's see here. Yeah, so I'm up now.
No.
Okay. The greatest film ever made happens to be a Christmas movie, and that is It's a Wonderful Life, based on a 1938 book called, it's a 23-page booklet Christmas circular called The Greatest Gift by Philip Van Doren Stern. No one wanted it. He got 37 or so rejection letters from publishers, and then it got into the hands of someone at RKO Studios, and it eventually drew the interest of Frank Capra. He went through writers like Clifford Odets. Miles Connolly is an uncredited writer of It's a Wonderful Life. Joe Zwirling and Francis Hackett. They are the main official writers, along with Frank Capra, added some dialogue. So I count 7 writers, including the original Philip Van Doren Stern. It's just a powerhouse movie. It's just basically a perfect movie. It's filled with foreshadowings. Start the first foreshadow with, remember in the scene where they're all sliding down the hill onto the frozen pond? George says, "Here comes my little brother Harry, the scare baby." Well, that's ironic because Harry's the war hero who saves the whole transport ship that was going to be bombed. So for him to call Harry a scare baby is kind of an ironic foreshadowing. Then the next scene that really gets me, it's like a silver dagger in my heart, is the scene with Mr. Gower, H.W. Warner, who also played Jesus, by the way, in The King of Kings. And when his son has died of influenza and he accidentally puts poison in the family that has the diphtheria. Remember, George goes to get his dad's advice and he comes back, and now he's really late, and Mr. Gower has been crying and he's drunk as a skunk. Frank Capra describes the battle that he had with Dmitri Tiomkin, who did the music, because Tiomkin wanted some emotional music in that scene where Mr. Gower just lays into George, and Capra said, no, it'll be much more powerful with no music whatsoever. And I think he's right. When he starts slapping him and he makes his ear bleed, the moment where George says, Mr. Gower, I know you're upset. You didn't mean to. You put poison in there. It's poison, I tell you. And then he realizes what he did. That scene is it's just so moving. And Capra includes a little shot of the actress who plays the young Mary sitting on the stool out in the shop. George has just served her and Violet Bick some ice cream. And she's just finished saying, is this your bad ear, George? Is this the ear you can't hear out of? And she leans over and says, George Bailey, I'll love you till the day I die. And it lasts about an eighth of a second. And when Gower is slapping George, Capra has a close frame shot of the young actress wincing. She's got tears in her eyes, and she's like reacting to him being slapped, which is a foreshadowing of the suffering she'll later undergo later in the film on behalf of her husband. It's a Wonderful Life is a movie about the intercessory prayer power of a woman named Mary. The story gets off the ground about 3/4 of the way through the chronology of the film. What do I mean by that? Well, if you sit down and watch the film, it opens with the conversation in heaven between different angels, Joseph and one that's in the script. It's called Franklin, but it's not named in the film. And they have a conversation about Clarence. And there's the very first shot of the film is welcome, you are in Bedford Falls. And then it's snow falling, and you can hear Martini and Ernie, and then finally Mary Hatch. That's them, the town, praying for George. We don't even know what that means until 3/4 of the way, the beginning of the inverted upside-down world of George in a world where George doesn't exist. Capra directs James Stewart. I don't know why he did not win the Best Actor Oscar. It's just a powerhouse tour de force performance. When George realizes he's worth more dead than alive, and he's just at the end of his rope, and he kicks over the model of the bridge and all the buildings that he's built, kind of symbolic of the future that he wants. And he loses his temper at Janie. Why do we have to have all these kids? And finally he just explodes. For 1 second, Capra directs Jimmy Stewart to look down the barrel of the camera. It's very, very quick, but it's kind of jolting because it's like the fourth wall dropping down. And he says in his autobiography, the name above the title, that he's playing with fire in that scene. That can go wrong easily. It can quickly become comedy. It can become too maudlin or unrealistic. But Capra and Stewart and Donna Reed and the children actors just play it down the middle, and it's just magnificent. And it's when he apologizes, but he leaves, and he goes to commit suicide on the bridge. Is there something wrong with Daddy? Tommy says. Yes, Tommy. Should I pray? Yes, pray hard. And then she dials the phone. Well, that's the beginning of the movie. The key moment is this woman named Mary interceding for someone, her husband. In a nutshell, that's It's a Wonderful Life. I do think it's the greatest film ever made. If you check out National Review Online, I did an essay a couple of Christmas Eves ago called "The Little Story That Did." You might like. I didn't see Remember the Night, Angeletta Walter, loved White Christmas growing up every year. Must have been on the TV. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, that's a great story. Thanks for sharing that one, Anne. In December 1999, my community had a drawing where children could win a guaranteed White Christmas. My daughter won, was given the certificate for a White Christmas. Couldn't help but think my dad may have had some influence. Your dad died in September 99. My dad died in September 2018. The snow is actually ice shavings from the local ice rink dumped on our lawn. That's great. Awesome. Yeah, Carl, meet John Doe. C'est classique. Yeah, Colin, good to hear you. Viva Cristo Rey. Always great to connect, Colin. God bless you, sir. Yeah, I don't think I've heard Bob Seger's Little Drummer Boy, but growing up, I was one of my favorite carols too. Little Drummer Boy. It was so earnest, you know. Yeah, Sebastian's conflict. Yeah, it's conflicted. It's not pro-gay propaganda, Viva Cristo Rey. And I know there's a continuum. You've got the Anthony guy. Forget his name. Anthony, the super duper flamer guy. And then you've got Sebastian, and then you've got Charles Ryder rather. Sebastian Flight and Charles Ryder. Forget the Anthony. Anthony Blount, Anthony. So yeah, so definitely a continuum. Okay. Yes, Nicholas. Thank you very much, Nicholas. Yeah, I think it is going to be saved, at least on Facebook. Okay. Lilies of the Field. I love Lilies of the Field. But I want to keep to Christmas, if we could, Faith Lovey. This is 1963, Lilies of the Field, starring the great, boy, I'm drawing a blank. Lilies of the Field stars, I can see him plain as day. This is going to drive me wild, wacky. He also played, They Call Me Mr. Tibbs. He also plays in The Heat of the Night. He is, of course, starring opposite Carol O'Connor. It's going to come to me. One of the great actors. It'll come. Yes, Powell was amazing. Agree in full. Yeah, you can't really portray Jesus and not be moved by it. Yes. Little quick note from on Peter Yo 966966792. Interesting last name. The actor who plays the Colonel is named Walter Brennan, one of the very few actors. I think there's only 3 of them in the world who've won 4 Academy Awards. And the actor who plays D.B. Norton, his name is Edward Arnold. They're both within probably 200 yards, the 2 of them, maybe shorter, in San Fernando Cemetery, where my daughter Naomi's buried. So it gives me a great joy to think that my daughter's remains rest near the remains of these 2 fantastic character actors in a movie I love so much. So that's a grace. Why can I not remember who played in Lilies of the Field? That's very strange. Oh well. Yeah, Instagram. I'm a bad person, Josh J. Day. I just can't be all to all. I'm sorry. Instagram is a different kind of platform. It's more feminine. It's more image-based. Just can't please all for all. Yes. Yeah, Eutychus, I think that's the sign that the movie's classic, right? Which with each rewatch, it wins more and more. You get more and more out of it. It teaches more. Yeah, George and Mary doesn't want to be tied down. Yeah, that conflicts. The scene in the foyer in It's a Wonderful Life is another delicate, beautiful thing where she asks him the key question. Remember that? What do you want? And he goes, I don't know. You're the one who's supposed to have all the answers, which is what his mother just told him that she was. Yeah, I tend to think that's not true, Alicia. Ben Mankiewicz and Leonard Maltin discussed the scene and Mr. Gower playing drunk. No, I don't believe that at all. It's not real. It's not real blood. Capra would have mentioned it, and H.W. Warner was a consummate professional. So no, I think he was an actor playing a drunk guy. Also, here's something that didn't happen. Thomas Mitchell playing Uncle Billy did not actually get drunk and fall down by accident. Remember, he falls over some trash cans or something. I'm all right. I'm all right. That was all deliberate. Yeah, I noticed the Eutychus. I noticed this the seagull, the Steven Seagal seagull skull. The cigar lighter on Potter's desk. Also, there's a couple of shots of Napoleon in the background. There's a black bust of an angry-looking Napoleon there. Yes. Okay. Thanks, George Chavez. Pamela Workala, by the time it had run its course in theaters, Home Alone was the third highest grossing film of all time worldwide. Yeah, wow, interesting. The Preacher's Wife is a remake of sorts of The Bishop's Wife, and I have not seen it. Sorry. But I do like Denzel Washington a lot. It's really bothering me. Sidney Poitier. Ooh, Sidney Poitier. Yes, he's in Lilies of the Field. Yeah, I remember the Hudsucker Proxy. I think they really borrow a lot, the Coen brothers, from that. Happy birthday, Mikator. Great birthday, Boxing Day, St. Stephen's Feast. Wonderful. Home Alone. Okay, Sidney Poitier. My gosh. See, I'm catching up now. Sorry, guys. Peter Yo 966696792. I won't mention him, but a friend of mine is a director, an animating director. He owns the rights to The Three Godfathers by the John Wayne movie, and he and I were over some beers and lunch with some friends in Hollywood at a restaurant, and he because I'd forgotten the movie. I'm not even sure if I've seen it. But he broke down and cried talking about this movie, The Three Godfathers, which is now on my list. So, small world. Yeah, Colin, we'll get the Tim. We'll get the Tim Gordon back on here for sure. I don't know what AMA means. Happy feast day, Lon Dora, Laura Dawn. Yeah, Carl Strello. Nothing happens to Potter. Mr. Capper was asked about Potter in the end of It's a Wonderful Life many times through the years, and he says, we just decided to leave him to heaven. Heaven will take care of him. If you think about it, Clarence could have helped out George a lot. If Clarence was given illumination about what happened to the money, then he could have had Potter in jail for stealing $8,000. That would have been a very different ending. Mika Torek, good to hear you. Yeah, I don't believe Leonard Maltin. That's not true. That's an urban legend, Alicia. So I don't believe things that Leonard Maltin says about movies. Sorry. No, I'm not on Periscope. Okay. Yeah, we're sticking with Christian movies. Yeah, it's 6:07, guys. I want to thank you all for participating. If you want to join Coffin Nation, it's coffinnation.com, the largest Christian. 90% of us are Catholics. And we have a culture to take back, and no one's going to do it for us. So if you click on coffinnation.com, you can find out more. The Coffin Nation membership offers 3 different levels of engagement, and we've got members in 25 countries. Some of the people here are Coffin Nation members. It's always fun. Every month I do a Livestream Hangout. Today it was meant to be Tim Gordon, who is grossly under the weather. So we have a blast. So I want to thank you for participating. Hello, Father Michael Wynn. Great to see you. If I could pronounce that. Christos Rajdaegzetia. That reminds me of Christ is risen, but this is Christ is born. Fantastic. Hey, now that he's born, it's a wonderful life. Yes, amen. Good to see you, Father. Thanks for your priesthood. So I'll wrap it up now. I want to thank folks for participating in the Patrick Coffin Show. Podcast loads every Tuesday. You can follow me on Twitter at Patrick_Coffin. And otherwise, check out coffinnation.com. Merry Christmas, everyone. Enjoy the films that we talked about: Love Actually, Miracle on 34th Street, Die Hard, Departures, It's a Wonderful Life, Meet John Doe, Holiday Inn, Home Alone, White Christmas, A Christmas Story, Disney's A Christmas Carol, and Charlie Brown Christmas. And let's not forget Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. God bless and be well. And be a saint. What else is there?